When we did the Prusa Core 1 recap last week, we showed what VFAs look like with matte and silk filament. Pretty much invisible on matte filament, noticeable on silk. Yeah, silk filament is just gonna do that. It shows issues a lot more. But I was wondering how this problem could possibly be mitigated, as well as other problems that you see with less silky filament. And you might be familiar with a similar problem from a different case study, this being the Benchy Hull Line. The hull line can be caused by several things, and it can also be viewed elsewhere when there is a rapid speed change. And yeah, I realize it's small, but I just want to get rid of it. And one cause of this problem is a motion issue. Tension your belts, run input shaping, make sure everything is rigid and solid, the usual stuff. Or, of course, reduce your printer acceleration, which leads to slower prints. This is essentially the main culprit because you're transitioning from normal infill and perimeters to a bridge infill, to a solid infill, and then to a top solid infill in just a few layers. Some filaments don't show this so much, but others definitely do. But basically, in most cases, the problem is this crazy speed change, which causes what looks like a tiny layer shift. You can actually feel it. So just balance the speed out. There is an extrusion rate smoother or pressure equalizer in Orca and Prusa Slicer, and using that, you should be able to make sure that the speed is not going from crazy low to crazy high in the space of one layer. Nice. Except you might still have the hull line, so what the hell is going on here? My belts are good. It can't be the acceleration. We fixed that. It's not the layer height. It's not the layer width. It's not the speed. It's not the fan. Oh, okay. Well, we can't really just limit this to a fan speed problem. There is a layer time transition too. The only reason the fan speed is reduced here is because the layer takes a long time. So which is it, layer time or fan speed? Well, let's find out. I made sure the fan speed was constant throughout the print, but the layer time was still spiking, and the result, yeah, it's still there. Actually, it looks slightly worse. So why would layer time affect the filament? Well, having an extra layer on top improves the stability. And if one layer has to wait longer, then things are going to happen in that time, even if it's just like 10 seconds more. Okay, so what if I just speed up those layers so the next layer can go down and improve stability? Well, no. So obviously the extra layer time causes this, but we still have the question, what causes the layer instability? Is it the slower physical support from the next layer? Or maybe it's the slower pass of a hot nozzle and hot filament from the next layer that is causing this because of a longer initial cooling period? What happens when most materials cool down? They contract. It's not a speed problem, it's not a cooling problem, it's not a tiny layer shift. The layer lines are shrinking at different rates. And we can actually see this double bulge with close-ups. It bulges when it starts the first solid infill layer, and it bulges again when it finishes the top layer. For the sparse infill part, everything seems to be cooling and contracting at a normal rate. When the infill becomes solid and there is a lot more thermal mass, I'm suspecting that the bulging layer contracts a lot on the bottom, but not as much on the top because of the next solid infill layer keeping it warm. And this is why the middle layers don't bulge out as much. They're not being cooled asymmetrically. But as soon as the top layers start, where one side is exposed to air, we have a similar bulge. One common relief to the hull line is printing the outer perimeter first, so that it cools, contracts, and stabilizes first. So I tried that, and it helps slightly, but I can still see it. Okay, instead we can make a modifier to create a gap between infill and perimeter only on those bulging layers, and print it. It's almost entirely gone. In fact, you can't see it just looking at it. With the macro lens you can. This solution should be applicable to basically any print where there is a spike in layer time because of solid infill. Don't think this is a universal fix to the hull line problem, it is multifaceted. But it makes me think maybe there should be a slicer setting to compensate for this, for layer time spikes in general, or some sort of smoothing option, or some sort of shrinkage compensation. Whether that is possible given the huge amount of filament out there that behave in different ways, I don't know. But I'd like to find out. See you guys later.